Welcome back, Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Well, today's video is we're going to cut up the other half of this blowdown. Be using our Stihl 034 Mr. Cheesey, the Weirdball saw. I think that this type of work is going to be its forte. So anyway, we've got all these branches that I need to take off and clear, and a lot of them have tension on them, so I'll come underneath and cut them and move them out of the way. But over here, it's not real sturdy there the way it's sitting on that thing, so if I take off a branch and the tension and this tries to drop off, I took some motorcycle tie straps and tied it to the tree behind it. So I hate getting squashed. I'll be back as soon as the saw is warmed up. Well, that's coming along real good. You can see how nice and fast that cuts in light wood. Well, we're going to be on the other side next. Well, you can see it makes short work of this wood here. And even though it's a little bit bigger wood, it's rotten. So this saw has finally found its niche in the saw world. So it's great for branching, brushing, and up to medium-sized rotten wood. Good wood. 10 inches and smaller is about what it likes best. So anyway, we'll get this moved out of the way and we'll get the tie strap off there and see if we can get this knocked down. Be back in a bit. Well, here's the tie strap, so we got a little bit of room in there left so we can pull that loose. Take that off. Take it loose. Perfect. Well, we're back. Got a break in the weather, so we're going to go out and cut down that dead 10-foot stump the tree blew down. And so anyway, it's been really cold, and this saw is really tough to get started in the cold. So I figured out the way to make it start easy. And one of our subscribers mentioned on this thing that you need to check the choke operation on them, because a lot of times when you put it in a choke position, the choke doesn't close all the way. This one does, but there's the way to cure it is to loosen the spring tension on it a little bit so it'll completely close. But what I do, you can see I got the air cleaner off already. And so what I do is I take a little bit of Sure Start here, 2-stroke mix. I'm going to open the throttle all the way. And put a little down the throat there. And you want to set it on the high idle. It should start in 1 or 2 pulls. Well, we'll put the saw back together and warm it up and see you at the tree. Well, we're at the tree here. So the first thing we're going to do, take all the branches off here, and I got a couple in behind there pushing up against the tree that's behind it. So if I don't cut those, I'll try to push it the wrong direction here. So I'm going to drop it right out in here. So get the saw running and be right back. rotten in the center. So anyway, we get reset up and start cutting. Well, we're going to go to winter quarters and have some more chainsaw BS. Well, we're out here in winter quarters. I'm going to share my great thoughts about this fine saw here. So, it does have a niche. And what that is branching, small diameter firewood, and it's superb at cutting up rotten trees. This is the fastest cutting chainsaw for cutting up rotten trees I've ever seen. So anyway, it's a keeper. Yeah, there's always room for almost any saw in my collection, good, bad, or indifferent, and no good even. So each one has its charms and features, good and bad. So the other thing I'm going to talk about here is what I would recommend and not recommend on this saw. And the thing I would recommend is if you have a lot of experience running a saw like this, because it has its limitations. It's kind of dangerous to start in a cold because the foot pad here is too small for a normal size foot, and if you're out in the wet and you go in here and slips off, and this thing has a really high compression. I mean, you can just see that. This thing won't, there it goes finally, but 10.5 to 1 compression ratio with no compression release. And the other thing too, in a cold, it doesn't have a purge valve to pressure up the fuel system, fill it with gas and oil mix there. So, but if you have good experience and you can work around its glitches, so no good for heavy duty cutting and great for light cutting and rotten wood especially. And you know, just run a 3/8 standard 050 chain on it, skip tooth. Felling dogs are fairly small, which is good because it's not good there again for doing heavy duty work. But you know, having a 24-inch bar on is nice because you can see I could reach way up to get the branches and stick it in a spot where I didn't want to get my head down in between the two trees. So, but I think if people are going to use this saw for a firewood saw, I'd recommend running a 20-inch bar or an 18, because the 24 just doesn't have the torque to run it. But it's got lots of horsepower and high speed for the other type, and light cutting. So, like I say, it's lightning fast for rotten wood and branching. It's really great. So, anyway, there you go. Another piece in the collection here. Mr. Obsolete's Mr. Cheesey, the Weirdball chainsaw. See you next time. Vintage is best.